Good morning, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thanks for joining me again for another live Q&A session here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you tips, tricks, techniques, things that I do every day in my own voiceover business. And then we get together in these weekly chats to talk about a topic or two. And it's just me today. I know you're probably all disappointed that Caesar's face isn't here, but Caesar will be back next week. So be sure to come back for that. Anywho, today we're talking about audiobooks. Now, I do have both narrators and authors that watch this channel, so I'm going to try to kind of make my brain's going 50 million directions already, squirrel, but I'm trying to kind of curate this so it fits for both. But anyway, if you're not new here, then every week you know that we have a new poll, and today's poll is, I'm getting distracted already. What is your biggest audiobook concern right now? The poll is evenly split again. That's surprising. But if you are an author watching, those are all pretty much narrator specific. So if there is something that you have a question about, please post it in the chat. I'll be happy to answer it. Thank you, Chastity. I just saw your comment. I do get a little bit squirrel-brained from time to time, but hey, if I can just entertain you for an hour, that's something. Anyway, your responses are for the poll is getting hired as a narrator. 23% of you. It's still pretty evenly split. So getting hired as a narrator, sound quality and home studio, editing and production workflow, and narration technique and or style. Okay, so we can touch on all of these as we go through and answer specific questions if you have a specific question. And please don't feel like it's a dumb question or, a newbie question. There are no dumb questions. Chances are we watching and I myself have asked these same questions. So if you have a question about an audiobook, then please post it in the chat. You will not be looked at we don't judge. So just FYI. But before we get into all of that, I've got a presentation for you because I know I have a lot of people who are just getting started in audiobook narration. So the frog has entered the chat. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this lovely presentation I've made, and we're going to go through it together. So these are audiobook tips, what authors expect, and how you as the narrator can deliver them. Who this guide is for: new narrators and indie authors. As I said, I have a lot of authors who watch this channel as well for the audiobook content. Understanding audiobook production essentials. So if you're just getting started, these are the things that you want to focus on, right? We want to sort of demystify what goes into creating an audiobook. The narration is basically the heart and soul of an audiobook production. The skilled narrator brings the text to life, engaging listeners with their voice, tone, and pacing to enhance the storytelling experience. Now, the most important thing I think to keep in mind in the narration part of this is that the narration itself comes across naturally, right? It doesn't sound like you're just reading words. It doesn't have artificial inflection like you're just talking and then, just inserting inflection here and there because you think it should be engaging that way. That's not how we talk, right? That's not how normal people have conversations. So inserting inflection artificially is just going to not sound genuine. It's not going to sound like you're having a conversation or telling a story, which is ultimately what we're trying to do. So therefore, understanding what you're saying, reading the book first, is really going to help you understand the context, right? The plots, the characters, the story itself, what's coming up next so you can build that tension or drama. It's important that you read the books first, especially for fiction. Some nonfiction you could probably get away with not. Maybe skimming through would be sufficient just to look up pronunciations of words and things like that. But ultimately, if you have the time, read through the book first. You'll thank yourself later. And that comes down to really the basic W's after you've read the book. Who are you as the narrator? Who are you talking to? And why are you talking to them, right? If you can understand the basic W's of any script, you'll be much better off. Audio editing involves refining the recorded narration to ensure clarity and consistency. This process includes removing mistakes, adjusting volume levels, and adding sound effects or music as needed. Now, I say sound effects and music as needed, not to... Generally speaking, music and sound effects are not typically included in audiobooks, but I think the popularity of this is starting to gain momentum again. So knowing the basics of adding music and sound effects would benefit your career trajectory. It's not something you need to know right off the bat, but eventually you probably do want to learn this skill set. Now, there is a lot to learning the audiobook, or as we call it, the ACX standard. And that's going to take time, but mastering your audio files, getting your noise floor under control, all of those things just come with time and learning. You know, you can learn from peer groups like Launchpad, as we talk about all the time. If you want to join Launchpad, which is a group of other voice actors, audiobook narrators, your peer group, there's a link down below in the description to check it out. Quality control is crucial in audiobook production. This step ensures that the final product meets industry standards, aka ACX standard, providing a pleasurable listening experience free from technical flaws or disruptions. Basically the ACX standard, right? There can't be any errant noises. You know, you want to be able to listen through the audiobook and not hear your neighbors yelling at each other in the background, or the neighbor's dog barking in the background, or your children in the next room watching TV. We want to make sure that the audiobook is received and enjoyed by all who listen, basically, right? What authors want? Pretty much the same thing that we do. Ultimately, the sound quality. Authors expect consistent sound quality that enhances the listening experience. This ensures clarity, allowing listeners to immerse themselves fully in the narrative without distractions. Now, if you can imagine listening to an audiobook where it just sounds like someone's reading the words and they're super monotone, could you listen to that for hours? Probably not, unless you're trying to fall asleep or something, right? So being an engaging storyteller is going to really set you apart as an audiobook narrator, and really, your career is just going to take off if you can get that down. Emotional connection. A narrator's ability to convey emotions significantly impacts storytelling. Authors look for narrators who can connect deeply with the material, bringing characters and scenes to life. And this comes with, as we just said before, reading the book beforehand, understanding who the characters are, their personalities, their quirks, where they came from, why they're feeling a specific way in a specific scene. You have to read the book in order to understand that. Clear communication with the narrator. Effective communication is essential for a successful collaboration. Authors appreciate narrators who provide updates, ask questions, and clarify expectations throughout the production process. So, having a Zoom call with the author beforehand can really set you up and set up the expectations for this production beforehand. That will eliminate a lot of questions and concerns, and it will help make the production process go faster if you just take 10, 30 minutes, maybe max, to meet an author via Zoom before you even start the production process. And in this conversation, you can discuss character voices, if there's any accents that are needed, Pronunciation tips. If it's, let's just say it's a fiction book, it's a fantasy fiction book, and there are made up words and places, you want to make sure that you can pronounce them correctly. So you don't have to go back later and re-edit or revise or edit in the correct pronunciation later. It'll save you a whole lot of time. Professionalism. Reliability and professionalism are critical traits. Authors value narrators who meet deadlines, adhere to guidelines, ACX standards, right? So they don't have to come back to you later and say, hey, this file is off the peak, whatever. You know what I mean? Clarify expectations throughout the production process. So just keep in touch, you know, with the author and narrator should keep in touch just to keep, you know, hey, I just started this chapter, or I'm in the editing process. I should have it done by X date, that sort of thing. It just keeps everybody on the same page. Home studio essentials. Now, was it last week? Yeah, last week I think I had Caesar on, and we talk about what kind of studio equipment you should have as a brand new audiobook narrator. And he's going to come back, I think. Caesar, what do you think? Once a month, maybe even more, to talk about specific microphones, room treatments, and we've already covered a lot of this in our conversations. But ultimately, what you want is a dedicated recording space, the most quiet space that you have available to you, that you can dedicate to making this your recording space. And when I say dedicate, hopefully you can set it up and then not have to take it back down, you know, after you're finished. You can just leave it as it is and come back to it. Because once you have your chair position, your mic position, the room treatment around you set up, you don't want to move it around. Because even small shifts in your environment, in your recording space, can change the sound output of your audio quality. So therefore, changing chapter 1 and chapter 2, the sound's going to be just a little bit different. We want and need consistency across all the files for an audiobook. So having a dedicated quiet space is what you're going to have to find. I had another word in mind. I sound like an idiot because my brain keeps throwing words at me and I'm trying to pick one. A quiet recording space is essential for high quality audio. Minimize background noise by selecting a room with good sound isolation and using soft furnishings to absorb excess sound. I think we covered most everything for the quiet space. Proper technique. Mastering proper mic technique involves maintaining consistent distance from the microphone and speaking clearly. Experiment with angles to capture the best sound while avoiding plosive sounds that can distort recordings. Now, plosives are when you have the microphone right in front of you. It's the little puff of air that comes out with the P's and the D's and the T's, right? If your microphone is just slightly off axis, as mine is here, that puff of air goes past the microphone, not into it, reducing plosives. So either experimenting with mic placement, right? You can even slow down, have it like angled above your mouth to the side of your mouth like mine is here. It depends on really what your voice sounds like ultimately, and like what kind of microphone that it is. So your best bet is either experimenting with that, or again, getting with a peer group or a sound engineer that can just go, yep, I can hear it and I'm going to tell you what to do right now. So there's a few ways to go about that. Clean audio. Ensure you achieve clean audio by eliminating echoes and distracting noises. Utilize soundproofing techniques such as acoustic panels, which again, we talked about last week with Caesar. To enhance the clarity of your recordings for a professional finish. Ultimately, you do not want echo in your recording space, or to have it sound too boxy, or what we were just talking about with your neighbors across the way are having an argument, or the dog barking, or your kids in the next room watching TV. You want to make sure that you isolate or keep those out, edit those out if you have to, or just wait for the sound to pass and then go into recording. With all of the voice actors that I've worked with, I'll past the years or through the years, I've discovered that the most common sources of noise for their noise floor, specifically for that standard, is either their computer itself, they're recording while they have the HVAC running, whether it's the AC or the heater, or it's some other sort of fan in the room that's making noise. Sometimes it's even the lighting in your room can emit that. I think it's is it EMI or RF? I forget what the frequency acronym is, but there's those are typically the sources of noise. Consistent settings, which we talked about. Maintaining consistent audio settings is crucial. I think we covered everything in there. Common beginner mistakes. Now, I have a lot of videos here on my channel where I talk about a lot of different common mistakes that new narrators make, and I myself have also made as a brand new narrator, so don't feel bad if you do any of these, but they're very easy to fall into, so I wanted to make sure that I brought these up. The first and foremost, for most of us, is over-processing the audio, because we're searching for that perfect sound, but what we're doing ultimately is doing too much, making the sound quality just horrible. We're adding too many effects. We're over editing. We're perfectly spacing out each sentence and phrase and paragraph, and we're doing way too much. You know, less is more, really, for sound quality. New narrators often fall into the trap of over-processing audio, resulting in unnatural sound. It is crucial to maintain authenticity for a more genuine listening experience. Ultimately, if you think about it, I'm saying ultimately a lot, aren't I? We are human narrators, so we want to make sure that we sound human and not artificially engineered. You know, why not just have an audiobook made by AI? It's going to not sound as authentic and genuine as a human narrator. So don't make yourself inadvertently sound like one by over-editing. Rushing timelines. Many beginners rush production timelines or book too many books all at the same time, too many jobs all at the same time, therefore having to rush through to meet your timelines for all of these books instead of scheduling them back to back to back. You want to get 3 books done in a month. That's no fault of your own, really. You just don't have any kind of reference as to how long an audiobook actually takes to create or produce. So there's a lot of things that you're going to learn along the way, but ultimately what you want to do, roughly rule of thumb, give yourself a month for each book. Now, if it's a larger book, I'd say anywhere from 70,000 words plus. It might take a little bit more, but usually a good rule of thumb is about a month per book. Poor communication, lack of clear communication with authors can lead to misunderstandings about expectations. But if you set all those expectations up front, then you've already eliminated a lot of this. Effective dialogue is essential for a smooth production process and building trust. Not proofing your audio. Failing to thoroughly proof audio recordings can result in overlooked errors. Proper proofing is vital in R2, delivering a professional and error-free audiobook that satisfies listener expectations. Even if you do the punch and roll method, meaning as you're recording and you realize that you made a mistake, you stop right then and there, and then you go back and re-record it correctly. Even if you do the punch and roll method, I still recommend going through the book one last time or using software like Positron or something like that that will check the script to your recording and catch those errors for you. Technology is fantastic these days, but you definitely want to go through it in some way, shape, or form before you submit it. Building trust. Strong auditions. Delivering compelling performances during auditions demonstrates a narrator's skill and versatility, helping authors envision their story's audio experience and fostering a sense of confidence in the narrator's capabilities. So the audition is your first impression for authors. So you want to make sure that your audition is ACX compliant, meaning it fits ACX's standards, because that will showcase what the final result will sound like for the author, so there's no surprises later. And the audition is also where you want to, if you can, because I understand that in some auditions, they only give you a snippet of the manuscript. You don't really know what happened prior to what you're reading or after what you're reading, so you don't have a whole lot of context. So in those cases, just do your best with what you got, right? But don't go with the cold read, artificial inflection. I'm just reading words so they can hear my voice. They not only want to hear your voice, but they also want to hear how well you connect to what you're given. So give it your best go. Even if you don't have the full understanding of what's happening in this scene, just do your best with what you got, right? Envision a scene where this audition piece, whatever that text is, could fit into, and just do your best with it. And then leave a note for the author that says, here, based on the context or the text that I was given, this was my best, my best interpretation of this. But ultimately, I will read through the book if we decide to go forward with this, and, I could give you a whole different read if you like. Meeting deadlines. Adhering to agreed upon deadlines showcases narrators' professionalism and reliability. Clear expectations, establishing transparent communication, and rapid communication. These are all things that you can really start to build this rapport and this trust and in this project or collaboration with the author up front with the Zoom call, right? And then you can even give the author the opportunity, or you could even meet with them midway through if you wanted to, right? Just to kind of touch base on what's happening. This is sort of this is your baby, right? You two are collaborating on this production, so there aren't really any rules of how often to meet or that sort of thing. You just kind of go with the flow. If you need to meet with them, great. If they need to meet with you, great, right? But ultimately, whatever it takes to get the production done. Tips for authors, because again, I do have authors who watch this channel. Providing clear direction to the narrator ensures that narrators understand your vision, your tone, and pacing expectations. This clarity helps achieve a final product that aligns with your creative intent. So even though you have the most well-written manuscript ever and you think that it makes complete sense as it sits, remember that you wrote those words. The narrator did not. So they may not quickly or at first fully grasp the whole purpose or tone or intent of your vision. So explaining what you're feeling or where you want this to go or how, or maybe even like where you were when you wrote this. I mean, any of that information can really help the narrator understand your vision and ultimate goal for this project. Requesting early samples. Requesting samples early in the hiring process helps gauge the narrator's suitability for your project. Listening to their previous work can inform your decision-making. The samples early on, I think, are apart from the audition. So maybe the author heard your audition. I'm speaking to my narrators, and they loved your voice and your delivery, but maybe they wanted to tweak it a little bit and then have you re-record it in a different way, maybe a slower pace, faster pace, maybe in a different tone altogether. Or maybe they gave you more context as to what is happening, so that way you can retake the audition in that way. But that will help authors to make a clear decision on whether this narrator is in fact correct or right for this particular book. Trust expertise. Trusting the narrator's experience allows them to bring your story to life effectively. Their experience can enhance the audiobook's overall quality and emotional resonance. But still, communicating what you're feeling or needing is definitely going to help the narrator to get there. Narrator's range. Considering the narrator's range ensures they can effectively convey your story's diverse characters and emotions. A versatile narrator can elevate your audiobook and engage listeners better. Now, I know that there are authors out there who, some of them want completely different character voices, like a distinct voice for each character, and some don't. It's, authors are different just like narrators are. I mean, they're all individuals in their own right. So listening to a narrator's previous experience on Audible or YouTube or whatever they have their demos is going to be essential for you to ensure that this narrator is going to be able to achieve what you want. And not all narrators can be that flexible or versatile. So be sure to listen to their previous work. I had something else in my head, but it ran away. Audiobook success comes from collaboration and consistency. Those are my final thoughts. And then we're done. Now I'm tired. Okay, we're done. So just to touch on the poll again, now we have 42 votes. Holy smokes. So now 21% of you said getting hired as a narrator. 19% of you said sound quality in home studio. I'm hoping that one is so low because Caesar is just so thorough in his interviews and giving you guys insights and help with that. 31% of you said editing and production workflow. I've been thinking about doing a video specifically for that, but I think I might also already have a video about that here on my channel. Narration technique and style is the second most voted at 29%. Your narration technique and or style is just going to be how you tell the story, right? Again, the basic 3 W's of understanding the script is going to help you to it's going to help you to avoid the artificial inflection. You're going to have a better understanding of what it is that you're saying, why you're saying it, and who you're saying it to. Because just for example, if you have a script that is written for doctors addressing a group of doctors, you're going to narrate that differently than you would, say, a kindergarten teacher addressing a group of kindergartners, right? So if you're understanding who you're talking to and then who you are as a narrator and why you're saying whatever it is that you're saying to them is really going to help you to get to the right place in that narration, whether it be an audiobook or anything else. But the way that you do that is your particular what's wrong with me today? Narration technique and or style. There really isn't like a right way or a wrong way. It's just your individual style. And a variance from narrator in terms of their style and technique is what sets us all apart individually, not just our voices, but also the way in which we narrate is also our own individual style. So don't try to emulate or mimic someone else. Just be you, right? And that will also help you to sound more authentic and genuine and connected to what you're narrating because it's your perception. It's your interpretation of what it is that you're narrating, right? Editing and production workflow. Okay, so that tells me I need to double check and see if I have a video on that because that is something that's going to be a lot more time consuming than just a 5-minute answer. And then getting hired as a narrator. We definitely have videos here on my channel where I go through all the different ways to market yourself as a narrator. But the one thing that I want new narrators to remember is that you can't take, and I don't even like to use the word rejection, but you weren't selected for a job because you stink or you shouldn't do this or your voice is crappy or whatever insult you're telling yourself, whatever negative thoughts you're telling yourself. 9 times out of 10, it had nothing to do with you. You just weren't the voice they were looking for, and that's okay. But I can guarantee you there are dozens, if not hundreds of other authors out there that are looking specifically for your tone, delivery, style, voice, whatever. So just keep going because the more that you audition, the more opportunities you have to cross paths with that author that is looking for your voice, delivery, tone, or style. So don't take rejections or you didn't get the job personally. Just keep auditioning. Just keep going. And keep marketing yourself. Because you can't just sit back and rely on any of the platforms to just bring you clients. You have to go and get them too. which you can do on social media and marketing yourself and creating your website and making sure the SEO is right on your website, all of those things that we talk about. But I see we have a lot of comments, so I'm going to go to the comments. I did see out of the corner of my eye that we had a super chat. So we'll do that one first. Caesar, music and sound effects? You don't say. I wouldn't even know where to begin. That aside, I'm really, really, really excited. Did I say I was excited? I know you're excited, Caesar. I know you're excited. And yes, with the popularity of dual narration, duet narration, full cast reads, I think it was the podcasting and video podcasting, and people are becoming more, I don't want to say accustomed, but they're turning to like full production podcasts. So therefore they want that same sort of sound production quality in their audiobooks as well. And to tell you the truth, I love dramatized audiobooks. I think they're fantastic. So music and sound effects, I think at some point is going to be, you're going to cross paths with an author who wants that in their audiobook. So learning those skills early would just behoove you and your audiobook business. But thank you for the super chat, Caesar. I appreciate you. Sean Tyler was here early this morning. Good morning from Nashville. I was still asleep when he sent that one. Good morning. Oh, that's me. Paul says, good morning, Miss Angela, and we brought the donuts. Thank you, Paul. Caesar says, oh, hi. But it's not clicking. There it goes. I didn't know how to answer the poll because, I'm awesome and humble. Because, but I chose sound quality and home studio because I'm the guy who chases that last 1%. So that's constantly improving. I would love nothing more than to be able to try out different preamplifiers and experiment with hardware EQ and de-essing. Also, studio needs more panels and a fresh coat of paint. That said, hello, everyone. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, but I'm not going to say why yet. So I'm just so excited. So, Caesar, I'm assuming that you're going to share why you're so excited with us next week in the live stream. I'm guessing. Jason Kirkover says, good morning from Nebraska. Let's go, VoiceOver fam. Morning, Jason. Big Daddy Forever says, hola from Phoenix. What part of Phoenix? Well, you don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell the whole world where you're from. That's fine. Another Phoenix resident. Pamela says, good morning, everyone. Tanya says, evening all. Chastity says, good afternoon. Hey, girl. Review Exchange Group says, my concern is getting to per finished hour or royalty share plus work from about 85% royalty share work now. 2025 and 20 books gives me proof of concept, but few bucks. Most authors do not market, so royalty share books must be fun or I pass. I've been hearing quite a bit, and this is not to you specifically, Review Exchange Group, but I've been hearing a lot of people complaining about royalty share books. And I mean, keep in mind, times aren't that great right now. I mean, a lot of people are struggling financially, but they still are trying to do what they can with what they have. And if they have this book that they just happen to finish, but don't have the money or the wherewithal or the bandwidth or the understanding in how to market, if you find something that's interesting and they're offering royalty share only, maybe reaching out to the author with your audition and saying, hey, I can give you some ideas. And obviously they're going to expect you to help with the marketing as well for royalty share. But you can get together with them and come up with some sort of a marketing plan to produce this audiobook, right? Remember, this is a collaboration. This is a team effort for this audiobook. This project that you're taking on is a collaboration for a project. So you're working on it together as a team. And those royalty share books can add up, right? I think I mentioned this before, but we had someone in Launchpad told me, this was back in December, I think. She said that she was expecting a very large check, like $2,000, in just royalty share alone for that month. So they do add up if you do enough of them, right? I mean, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You know? I mean, it is what it is. You either take it or you don't. Thank you, Chastity. Amy Ruthie says, good morning, everyone. Thanks for hosting, Angela. You're welcome. My specific question is about how to ensure, chapstick is applied, that have the same mic position every time you record for an audiobook. Don't touch it. What I tell people is first make sure that in whatever space, once you have your space chosen, place your chair, make sure that you are comfortable, and move everything to you, right? So my chair, where it sits right now, I am comfortable. I can reach everything. And then once my chair is here, I move the mic and place it and then check and make sure everything sounds okay. And then when I'm done for the day in here, I mean, I touch nothing. Everything stays where it is. So as long as your chair doesn't move, your position doesn't move, I mean, any more than maybe just a slight rotation, and your mic doesn't move, nothing moves. Nothing in your room shifts. You're fine. So just remember to not touch anything. And you should be fine. The singing catfish is here. Hi. Cat, another donut. Thank you, Cat. Good morning. Jason says, I tell my friends about you all the time. I don't know how I feel about that. I invited my friend Crystal this morning, who I've narrated for and with on multiple spicy books. She just signed up for Academy Voices, and I will be too. Oh, that's great. Fantastic. Thank you for the kudos, Jason. I appreciate it. I don't even know how to say that. I don't want to butcher that. Top of the afternoon from Toronto. Thanks for joining. Caesar says to Amy Ruthie, oh, hi, don't move your stand or boom arm or let it swing out of place, then measure distance with your hand. No need to overthink. Not all mics have a narrow directionality. Basically what I said, don't touch it. Caesar likes to be thorough. Just don't touch it. Rustic Hillbilly, good morning. Good morning, Rustic Hillbilly. Singing Catfish says, oh, Haley B. Hey, Haley. Squirrel-brained. I've never even noticed. She's being facetious. She has to be. Your digressions and tangents always make complete sense to me. Don't even notice them until you point them out. Okay, well, all right. Okay. Don't encourage the tangents. Eric Grimes, good morning. Amazing Angela and the A-team. I do have good news. The duet I did with Myra today became available. Oh, author. So it's author. Awesome. So it's out for retail then. So are you going to tell us what it is so we can all go buy it? I think you should. An author I auditioned for also asked for my rate, so I'm being considered. That's fantastic. I lost my place. Oh, here we go. Haley says, whoops, could be because I have ADHD, but still. I mean, hey. I mean, the very least, I'm hoping that you're entertained while you're here with me anyway. Dylan, hey, Dylan. Dylan says, hi, all. I said narration style. I solo narrate, but it seems like most listeners, especially book talk, are starting to prefer duet narration. I've seen lots of comments hating on male doing female voices. If I were you, Dylan, I wouldn't take any of that personally. I wouldn't. Because you were you. I think you found a narration style that is just perfectly individually you, uniquely you. So I don't worry so much about what people are complaining about. All we can do as professionals is educate, and everyone's going to have their own opinion about whatever they're having an opinion on anyway. I mean, there's no way to really change that. All you can really do is do your best to educate and guide, right? So, but you as a solo narrator, I mean, have you ever considered perhaps doing a duet or a dual narration with a partner. I think you do really well at that, Dylan. Eric says, us to set up your effects rack, and that puts everything in ACX standards for you is magical. Yeah, to have someone set up your effects rack. Rebecca, another donut, and Rebecca was on a couple weeks ago with me. Speaking of which, shouldn't you be editing the really, really, really exciting thing? Speaking to Caesar, I'm sure. Dylan says to Caesar, I can't believe this is how I found out that you're volunteering to produce my animation demo. Yes, I say yes. Caesar says, once a month is great. It gives me a reason to shower before showing up. Oh, geez. Caesar says to Dylan, I can do the sound part. The animation part will have to be outsourced. And then Eric is here. Hey, Eric, I'm going to call you, instead of bad cop Eric, you're going to be walking on clouds, Eric. And I'm sure Eric will tell everyone why he's walking on clouds in our Thursday meeting. Good morning, friends. I know I'm late and I didn't bring donuts, but I did bring cereal. So there's that. No. I mean, donuts. Eric. Duh. Donuts. I mean, they're not even real. I mean, you could... Review Exchange Group says, reading the book ahead of time, for me, nonfiction and all royalty shares can't do it. I'm not expecting surprises in the manuscript, as with fiction, but I'm a decent sight reader and storyteller, in my honest opinion. I mean, you do you, boo. If it's working for you, then, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. But I still recommend reading through the book, at the very least skimming through it so you know what's coming up next. Rebecca says, hi, everyone. Thanks to Caesar's sound engineering magic, it's all up to me now. So I definitely said narration style. My issue, as always, is overthinking and overanalyzing. And I think that is something else a lot of us get stuck in, for sure. Because we're either A, comparing ourselves to other narrators and saying, why can't I sound like that, or make that kind of inflection, or why didn't I see that, or whatever it is. Or we're hating on our own voices so much that we're still striving for this place of perfection, which you guys all know how much I hate that word, because it's not reality. It's not real. There's no such thing as perfect, right? It's just this thing that we're striving for that we'll never achieve. So just be happy with satisfied. And Rebecca, you're fine. I've heard you narrate many, many times, and I don't think there's anything that you should change. Again, the way that you sound is very uniquely you, and that's what makes you marketable, is that you have a unique sound. So not for you, Rebecca, but comparisonitis is definitely a thing. Don't allow yourself to do that. Everything that makes you different makes you marketable, so you're not sounding like everyone else, or narrating like everyone else, or doing something like everyone else is. You're doing it a little bit different, and that's a good thing. Caesar says, remember where the mic is pointed can determine the frequency skew. Point to forehead to brighter sound, point to chest for darker sound, point to nose for nosy sound, or however you say it. Caesar. EMF. Oh, thank you. Oh, and then RFI, radio frequency interference, and EMI is electromagnetic interference. Okay, that's what yes. Rebecca says, because you type. Review Exchange Group says, ACX sent out a survey today worth everyone's participation. I'll have to go and look for that. I just did one for Fiverr not too long ago. I mean, I always fill out those surveys when they're sent, especially when they're coming from platforms that we find work from. That gives you the opportunity to really voice your opinion about, and it's usually nowadays about AI and the integration and use of AI. So always take those surveys and give your true, honest opinion about things, because it'll help shape where the platform goes in the future. About a dozen questions. One was regarding how well we liked AI voices. Definitely going to go fill that one out. Take the survey just to answer that one. Call out ACX for permitting it. Yes. Dankeschön. Ken is here. Greetings, all apple fritters presented for penance. Again, glad for replay. Stupid real job getting in the way of my fun job. Totally understand that, Ken. If you want extra brownie points, bring cherry fritters. Janelle. Hey, Janelle. Hey, everyone. These are great tips. Just want to say thanks. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. Rebecca says, tip for authors, a 30-minute Zoom call with your narrator can make a world of difference. And it does. And I've started to make that part of every single production that I book now, is to have a Zoom call with the author beforehand, before we even start. Because there could be something that comes up that it's like a no-go for you, that you have to call a timeout and say, you know what, maybe I'm not the right narrator. And it could save time and trouble and hassle for both of you if you just have that Zoom call previous to starting a production. Jason says, all solid, and I wish all my co-narrators were on board with that awesome tutorial you gave. They wouldn't be? Joy says, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all like Krispy Kreme donuts. Who doesn't? And hot chocolate. My problem is I have no luck getting narration jobs. Joy, A, stop the stinking thinking. 2, stop the negative self-talk, because neither of those are going to do you any good. You haven't got any narration jobs yet, right? That is how you should end all of those sort of statements. Not that I can't or I won't or I don't, is I haven't yet. Yet. Don't tell yourself all of these negative things that will have an effect on you mentally. Joy, we're having some words. We're having some words on Thursday, Joy. Caesar says, yes. You're going to share with us next week. Rebecca says, I will honestly be surprised if it stays any sort of secret until next week. Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised he hasn't already told everyone, to be honest. Caesar says, I looked a gift horse in the mouth once and it kicked me in the sternum. See, that's what happens. Ruben said, hola, good people. Tanya says, how often does ACXQA reject files? There really isn't a standard or a statistic or a percentage for that. It's once in a while. For me, I would say, at this point, I've narrated probably somewhere around 270 something audiobooks, and I've only had maybe 2 or 3. No, I take that back. Like 4 or 5. Still a very small number. But keep in mind that ACXQA uses software to spot check everything, sort of as you can do yourself in your DAW. Like, especially if you have Adobe Audition. I'm not sure if Reaper, I'm sure it does. But you can check your files for ACX standard yourself and, check the RMS, the peak amplitude, the noise floor. You can check all that stuff yourself. But ACX uses software to sort of spot check all of these things throughout the file. And if something comes up, it'll either send you an email saying, hey, fix this, or it'll get a human involved and the human will verify, yeah, that needs to be fixed. And then you fix it and then you send it back into ACX. But I have also found that the software is not 100% accurate, because I think in the first 2 times that this happened to me where ACX said there was an issue, I know there wasn't, because I myself had verified that the standards were, they were adhered to. So what I did was I deleted the file they said was erroneous or had an issue. And then I just re-uploaded the file again and it went, hey, great, thanks for fixing that. And I fixed nothing. So the software is not 100% accurate 100% of the time. And just know that it is something that is fixable. So there's no need to panic. No need to panic. Even if ACXQA does come back, it makes you feel kind of silly in front of the author. But you're human and humans make mistakes. And so you shouldn't really beat up on yourself, even if it does because sometimes there's nothing even wrong with the file. The software made the issue, and if it was something that you did, so what? It's fixable. Humans make mistakes. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Joyce says, LOL, let's see how long Caesar sits on it. I know. Rebecca says, yeah, egg timer. I'm surprised he hasn't spilled his guts already. Dylan says, full production audiobooks. That seals it. I just need to find a female sounding narrator that likes to edit, master audio, and is looking for a perfectly adequate male character narrator. Easy, right? Yes. Yes, Dylan. Yes, Dylan. In our circles, you know, because you're former platinum, so in your circles, you have access to a couple hundred narrators to reach out to. And at least half of those are female, right? Come on, Dylan. Darren Horton says, so I'm midway through my first audiobook. I feel like because of my personality, it's better for me to blow through the chapters, get the rough audio completed, and then go back and edit. I would not. Because I think if you do that, then you're going to find that you're just going to have to re-record the entire audiobook. I wouldn't go through an entire audiobook and record like scratch tracks. I would take that time, understand what you're saying, you know, read through the book, all of the W's that we talked about, and then give it one final take. And if you make mistakes or retake things along the way, that's fine. I mean, I do that every day. We all do. So that's fine too. But record it with the intent of it being a finished product. That way you're not having to re-record an entire book. If you're just going through it with the intent as just to blow through and make a scratch track, you know? Dylan says they also need to be available to work from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. EST. I'm sure you could still find someone that would fit that, Dylan. Tanya Wade says, just review for corrections and do pickups as soon as possible. Can be harder if it's weeks later. Yeah, but still doable. It's still doable. I mean, most everything is fixable. Most everything is fixable. There's nothing to freak out about at all. Joyce says, Angela, what are the new trends you see coming in audiobook narration for 2026? Again, I think I'm seeing a whole lot more multicast audiobooks, whether it be dual or duet or, you know, a few narrators or a full cast. I'm seeing a lot more of that. A lot more of immersive audio, whether it be just subtle sound effects or a musical intro or an interlude or, you know, or like full immersion with sound effects and everything. I mean, I'm starting to see more of that above and beyond just a singular narrator. But there's still tons and tons and tons out there for singular solo narrators too. I'm not saying that those are going away. I'm just saying that I'm seeing more of the, you know, above and beyond a solo narrator. And also, just to piggyback off of that, a lot more of, because of all the AI voices out there, a lot more people want like emotion, immersion, genuine authenticity, human moments in audiobooks, especially in the character dialogue, where they're running and they're breathing and they're gasping and they're doing all of the things that humans do, right? To make sure that you're doing that stuff as a narrator as you're going through the book, especially for fiction, of course, right? So make sure that you're adding that too. Caesar says, LOL on the subject of thoroughness regarding mic placement. Once you're within a tight placement tolerance, your voice varies more than the mic. Rest, hydrate, take care of yourself. Don't get sick. Famous last words. Don't get sick as a narrator. Have you ever used PreSonus Studio? I have not. I'm sure Caesar has some words on that though, but no, I use Adobe Audition. Have used Adobe Audition for the last 7.5 years. I used Audacity for about 3 months or so and moved to Adobe Audition. Eric Grimes says, our book is called The Long Haul by Simone Reddy. Excuse me. I have to move my knees. Hold on. It's a really enjoyable book. And yes, hit me up if you'd like an audio code. Caesar says, of course, I have. It's now called Fender Studio Pro. Fender acquired Presonus in 2021 and have launched a massive software and hardware rebrand. Oops, that was supposed to say higher, Caesar. It's so complicated that I ended up using Audacity. Well, there you go. There's a solid review on the new Fender Studio Pro. Faith says, hello, all. Best advice for breaking into the industry, just to do it. Just to do it and to join groups, join peer groups, because you will get more of your questions answered. You'll be directed down more advantageous paths if you just get with groups and instead of trying to figure everything out on your own. And don't let your fear of asking stupid newbie questions keep you from joining groups, because they all started in the same place that you're in now. And I can guarantee you that we've been there and that we can give you some tips and advice on what we did to get out of that place or to get past that place or whatever it is. So join those groups, Faith. That's my best advice for you. Because even if you get into like the research phase, we have a tendency to go down rabbit holes and then we procrastinate, right? We just tell ourselves that I have to keep learning about this before I even go buy a microphone, that I have to do. Don't do that. Don't allow yourself to get stuck in those circles, those procrastinating circles. If you join groups, then you'll have the support of people who are in your place that will love and support and push you, in the right direction and save you tons of time, perhaps even money and frustration, and to help you get, started faster. So that is my best advice for you, Faith. And if you want to join our group, the link is in the description below. Caesar says, yep, most production grade DAWs have like lots of tracks, lots of buses, inserts, and can be immediately overwhelming. Audition sits in the middle. It can be simple or complex. For the name that I cannot pronounce, says, no worries, Angela. It's Emika. Am I saying that right? I'm a trained TV film actor, but now exploring voiceovers more in depth. Good for you. Love your content and advice. I'll be signing up with VoiceOverAngela. Oh, great. We'd love to have you. There's Jules. I'm late. Brought some donuts. I was just talking about you, Jules. Are your ears ringing? Probably. Thanks for the donuts. Review Exchange Group says, for newbies, realize that winning auditions is like winning basketball. Each game is a series of runs. In other words, feast and famine. Slow times, better times. Hang in there. Just do it. Audition. Yes. Yes. Kat says, to Joy, you are improving so much better every time I hear you. I second that and third it. Joy, you are improving, so be kind to yourself. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You are improving throughout the years. So that is progress. Be proud of yourself. Joy. We're still having words on Thursday. Caesar says, full production audiobooks, you don't say. I wouldn't know where to begin with that. Oh, stop it. Review Exchange Group says, Darren, I find that editing as I go is best. If you come back later, often the sound is just off. I stumble a lot or misspeak, and sometimes it occurs to me that the author's intent, so I change tone. Yeah, I mean, the best way to prepare yourself before recording is to read the book, is to read the copy, the manuscript, whatever it is that you're narrating, and ask yourself those 3 questions. Who are you as the narrator? Who are you talking to? And why are you talking to them? Because, I mean, even if we're talking between nonfiction and fiction, a nonfiction book, you need to sound like you're the authority on whatever this topic is. In a lot of times, you have to sound like you're the author, that you wrote these words. right? This is what you wrote because you were the authority on it. And then for fiction, you're going to have more of a storyteller sort of a tone, right? You're going to set up scenes, you're going to build tension. You're going to go fast, you're going to go slow. I mean, you're going to do all those things in nonfiction too, but it's a completely different tone and a completely different approach, right? Just a general, wide sweeping comment is that it's a completely different tone. So having a firm understanding of what you're reading, why you're reading it to them, and, who you're reading it to is going to make a difference. Shauna, is it Shanna or Shauna? Oh gosh, I'm overthinking again. Hi, Angela. Wondering where you get the music for audiobooks. Audacity has some available for free downloads as well as sound effects, but are there better sites online for this? Yes, if you can go to sites like Envato, you've got Storyblocks, you've got, there's, if you just Google it, you could probably find a whole lot of sites to find royalty-free music, but you want to make sure that you're reading through the fine print of these. If it's like Creative Commons music, there might be the stipulation that you can use this free, but you need to credit the composer or the creator, right? So you want to make sure that you can use whatever sound effect music that you're using in an audiobook sort of an application. So you might need to purchase a license to use these assets. So wherever you decide to find this music, make sure that you can use it. Another way to go for that is to ask the author to source the music and the sound effects and just tell you where to put them, right? That's another way to go about it. Great information. I feel more confident the more I hear it. Good. I did my job today. Caesar says, Tashana, Artlist, Epidemic, Audio Jungle, Storyblocks, even Pixabay. There you go. Adobe Audition, which is what I use. I was reading Audacity and accidentally... I do that too. Like if I'm looking at the color brown, but I'm talking about the color blue, I'll say brown, but I meant blue only because I'm looking at brown. I do it all the time. Human, right? Human. No worries. Caesar says, Tashana, F2E 100% Audition is simply the more user-friendly, more intuitive, easy to get into DAW. And it does have an in-depth mode for more complex productions as well. Faith says, great feedback. You're welcome. Chastity says, thank you again for another awesome live. I've taken so many notes. This is very encouraging. Good. I'm so glad to hear it. And it's been an hour already. Well, you know what that means. We're going to wrap this one up for today, but do come back next week because, as I mentioned before, Caesar is bursting at the seams to share with us the information that he has to share with us. So please be sure to come back next week, Tuesday, 12 p.m. EST, where I will have Caesar on and we'll be talking about a few things. I don't even want to talk about what we're talking about yet because I'll have to figure out a way to set up the live stream without giving away what it is that he wants to share because I already know what it is. I already know. If you want to know, then come back next week. But anyway, we're going to wrap this up. I'll see you guys all next week. Bye.